Hi everyone, my name is Adam Cohen and you're watching Adam Cohen Today. This is our weekly business brainstorm session every Mondays at 5 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. I'd like to thank everyone for joining me today. Maybe a few other people will join us as we get deeper in. Um, Today we have Judge Lewis Knock, has come back as a repeat visitor. We have Dexter and we have Cheryl. I'm going to go around the table and introduce everyone. So I'll start. My name is Adam Cohen and I'm the CEO of Adam Cohen Today. I'm also the CEO of Sachs and Spencer Capital, Sachs Gap, and a few other new companies that we're launching, including Smash Mortgage. This is our weekly brainstorm session where we talk about business, where we talk about our life experiences, and we talk about the world events that are affecting the things that of all of the above. I'm going to introduce everybody right now. We will start with our uh, regular visitor, Judge Lewis Knopp. Thank you for joining us again today.
It's a great pleasure, Adam, and it's good to see Cheryl Dexter and everyone else. My name is Louis Knock. I am a former New York State Supreme Court Justice, and I am retired from the bench. I am currently a shareholder in the Manhattan law firm of Anderson Kill, and I am a big fan of Adam Cohen Today and other things that you're doing, Adam. And it's great to be with you all today. Thank you.
All right, thank you for joining us again. And Dexter, I'll let you introduce yourself.
Hi Adam. Hi guys. Thanks for having me here today. So I'm Dexter. I'm based in London now. I'm based in the Netherlands at the moment. So I recently moved out to the Netherlands about a year ago. My company does cancer research. I'm a founder of a company called Oncovara. So we're doing some exciting stuff in the cancer research department. We've got some new breakthrough molecules we've been working on and that sort of thing.
So,
Also, traditionally, my history is property. That's my bread and butter history. And cancer is something I've basically gone into over the last few years.
well, as you know, I'm a fellow Londoner. Where in London are you from?
West London, Chiswick,
Chiswick,
born
Chiswick
and raised.
Roundabout on the way to Heathrow
Yeah,
Airport. Very,
that's
very,
right.
very well. So, as some of you may know, I'm from London, and where he's from is an area called Chiswick, which is on the North Circular Road that goes from Golders Green, where I grew up, to all the way to Heathrow Airport, which is London's most famous airport. And
Correct.
what's interesting about problems made worse is that you used to have traffic lights every mile that broke up the traffic. And then they made one big massive throughway that's like 3 lanes that comes to 2 lanes and a massive traffic light where everything bottlenecks and now gets all at once. And the traffic, since they did that, is just 10 times worse.
Yeah.
It used to be a 40-minute drive to the airport, now it's an hour and a half. So anyway,
You
we'll
need a
move on from the
helicopter to
traffic.
get to the airport.
Yeah, London traffic is terrible and the cameras will kill you. They're like, I hate driving in London. And you're now living in the Netherlands, is it like Amsterdam area or
Yeah, just outside Amsterdam, an area called Utrecht, a city called Utrecht I live
uh
in.
I've driven through
Yeah,
it. I know more or less where you are. I don't know it
yeah,
well, but I have been through it. All
yeah,
right.
really nice area.
Well, thank you for joining us today. And Cheryl McBride, nice to meet you, Cheryl. I think this is your first time attending, right?
That's right. I just heard about it from the Hetty. So yeah, I'm here to see what's happening and why he invited me. But I teach financial education globally, and I get people to help me help the people locally. So I'm constantly meeting new people in different countries, and so I know who to hook my people up with.
Oh, well, that's
Thanks.
fantastic. Well, we talk a lot about finance on this broadcast. I mean, I don't know what we're going to cover. I don't know roughly what we're going to cover today, but in other episodes, we've covered real estate, we've covered finance, we've covered the effects of the war, we've covered rising living costs, how that affects business, how to overcome it. We've covered a lot of those subjects. And if anyone is interested and they haven't seen previous episodes, they're available on our YouTube channel, which Bahedi, if he's listening, will share a link to everybody right now. You can hit that little subscribe button, and then you will get notified when our videos go out every week. That if you didn't get a chance to join us, you can watch the videos, you can share them with your students. I think, and I hope that we cover some good topics here and may be interesting. And interestingly enough, for a little while, I taught real estate at NYU by accident. I mean, I'll write about that in another newsletter, how that happened. It's an interesting story, but let's avoid that for today. Who else we have? Malcolm is, I think, is a note taker, and we have Carlos Livy. Carlos, are you with us? Do you want to chime in?
Yeah, sure. My apologies. Sorry about that. Carlos Ivy here. I'm from Orange County, California, Tustin to be exact. And this is my first time attending today. My group, 80 commercial group, is responsible for analyzing multifamily properties in Kansas, Texas, and Oklahoma. And I identify discounted and cash flowing properties in those three states. I have a background in financing, and it's given me the ability to look at deals and analyze income, analyze expenses, and determine a net operating income. And then, of course, with my financing background, I'm also able to calculate what new debt would go for. And with those algorithms in place, I can determine what is a fair market bid price for the property based on the income and expenses and net operating income and new debt. So from that point, I go and nail down a letter of intent with the seller, and then try to parlay the opportunity to high net worth individuals or hedge funds or family offices and scrape off a 1% fee for my services. So I have an extensive background in construction, financing, and real estate. So I've been involved in financing and real estate since 1999. So with the combined use of those experiences, I'm able to deliver what I feel is a value add product.
Well, that's interesting because it's similar to my background. I mean, I grew up in London and I started off buying and selling real estate at first, brokering some deals. I remember actually, tell you the truth, I got that mixed up. I started off doing rentals, then sales, and then I decided to start flipping deals, and then I started doing some rehab, then construction, and then I just went crazy, started doing everything. So, and then this is an interesting one. So, you've all seen, I guess, the Mission Impossible movie, the very first one with Tom Cruise that was partly filmed in London. Well, one day I used to have this retail store on the corner of New Cavendish and Welbeck Street, which was a real estate office. And one day, I forget his name, the director for that movie wanders into my office looking for locations to film. And we ended up, after much negotiation, that we provided the apartment or the flat in London that was used in the film. So that the apartment that they filmed in London was rented to them by us. So that was an interesting thing. And after that, I started a company called Mortgage Impossible. So I may have plagiarized the name.
Love the name.
But it was great and it was really popular in the time. We used to do a lot of foreclosure bailouts, and it was a good opportunity if someone couldn't be financed to say, hey, let me buy it from you and get it cheap. So it opened doors for investments. And for many years after that, it gave me the opening. And I do hard money and private lending, and most people know me for that. But through that platform, it gives me first foot in the door to look at opportunities that haven't gotten to the street yet, to try and buy them, negotiate them, try and put a deal together myself. So lending was always kind of like a stepping stone to finding good opportunities, and it's definitely succeeded for me in that space. So as we have a significantly real estate and finance group today, I guess we'll stay in that area, but I wanted to try and talk about something today a little different than our previous conversations. Mahedi, we've just started doing our newsletter, and I want to thank everyone that signed up for it. We had about, I think, 1,400 people sign up in the first week. I was actually really grateful and surprised by that. I thought maybe we would get 20 or 30 people. So I want to do a big shout out and a thank you to Mehedi for doing an amazing job at putting that together. It's because his work is brilliant. And we're going to get into talk a little bit more about LinkedIn and some stuff that we're doing. And whilst we're talking, if you guys wouldn't mind, Lewis, we have your information already, but Dexter and Cheryl, in the notes, could you put in your contact information in the chat for like your phone number and your email? And that way, Mehedi can add you to our mailing list and let you know when newsletter goes out, when things are added to the YouTube channel. And if you'd like to subscribe to our newsletter or our YouTube channel, that would be amazing. And you would get to see some great quality content that's all about business, all about our journey, and it'll be updated rather every week. So Mehedi asked me to do the content this week for our weekly newsletter, and I could have gone into the old AI to write me a newsletter, but no, I'm old-fashioned. I wrote it myself, every word. I read it 10 times. I corrected my spelling mistakes, and Mehedi got the same email from me like 5 times with little last-minute corrections, but we finally got it down. But I thought you brought up some great questions, and I figured we would share them on here and talk about them. So we're going to talk about, I don't know how long you've all been in business. I started my first business when I was 16, so I'm 36 years into being a business owner and loving every moment of it. The good days, the bad days, the good times, the hard times, the wins, the losses. It's all part of the journey and experience. So my question to you guys is, and maybe I'll let Cheryl start with this one, I think, as a newcomer, is what would you say that you've learned over your years of experience as an educator, as a working with people that you're teaching about business and finance? What would you say if you had to highlight it as being your takeaway, if you had to put it in like a New York minute of your years of experience?
Yeah, there are many years of experience. However, I would say I've been building a network all over the world, and I've gone into several businesses, where I became the IBO or the business owner, their landing page, all that kind of stuff. But I've learned so much. I mean, it's a great personal development, business development situation when you go into those companies. But the most valuable thing I've gotten was a lot of relationships, a lot of friendships, and a lot of knowledge about what they do. So, there's the financial principles are worldwide, they're global, and they apply to almost they did apply to every company that I had. But each time I do another company, I get more knowledge and I do it better. So I don't know if that's your New York minute.
No, that's a good answer. It's a great
I
answer.
did live in.
Great.
I lived in New York.
Yeah. Keep in mind, this is very much like a town hall type conversation that everyone is going to participate. You can't sit and be quiet with me. I'm going to make you speak. Dexter, what would you say are things that you've taken away? If you had to summarize your years of experience in business.
I would say resilience and also adaptability, because obviously we never know what's going to come on ahead of us, so we have to be ready to adapt. I think making the right pivot at the right time.
I think adaptability is really important. I think that's very, very important, especially in a new digital age that we're living in. And how would you say that's affected you in, say, moving from the UK to the Netherlands? And why would you do that? That's another subject.
Yeah, we have to keep adapting the roadmap. Because obviously I've faced a few different difficulties. I'm just over here. I've started a different company also. So I started a company in the Netherlands, which I've been working on, and obviously that's a challenge, but it's exciting starting something fresh. But I would definitely say the ability to be flexible. And I like to say you have to flow like water when it comes to business. You've got your roadmap and you have your business plan and your model, but you have to be adaptable. So I always try to be ready.
And that's an interesting point, because one thing I've learned is that you come up with an idea and you say, hey, I'm going to start, I'm going to be a real estate investor. And you say, I want to buy and sell rental properties. But then one day, a fixer-upper comes along and you have no experience in fixer-upping, but you say, hey, I want to be a fixer-upper now. and you go and you find people and you make a lot of money, more money than you would on your rental, and you say, hey, you know something? Maybe rentals isn't for me. Now I want to be a fixer-upper. And then you find a piece of land and you're like, I want to do ground up development. And then you do one house and it's successful. And now you go out and you build three. So business is a starting point, but it's not uncommon, and definitely in my experience, that whilst you're exploring one business or growing the business or in the pursuit of, something else comes along because the door had been opened, and door number one leads you to doors number two and three. And through that, in a fluid state, you evolve that idea into a different direction. So that's a very good point that I want to thank you for making. And Lewis, what would you say would be your takeaway from your many years of experience?
Thank you. And I've been listening very carefully to Cheryl and Dexter, and I can echo their very, very salient points. What I would add, the perspective that I can contribute is I've always been in a service enterprise. As a lifelong lawyer, I was a judge for a full term, but before I was a judge, I was a lawyer for a quarter of a century. I'm now a lawyer again. It's a service business that I head up. And in my business as an attorney, in this type of a service enterprise, the most important lesson I have learned is to develop the relationship and to be responsive. And here's what I mean. I'll go in reverse order. Responsiveness. I do not let any moss grow under an email or a telephone call of a client. No client will have to wait longer than 20 minutes, if it's humanly possible, to get a response from me. And that is so appreciated by my client base. And I hear it time and time again, and it's not hard to understand. When folks need me, I will try to drop everything to at least respond. And you know what? If I can't respond in a substantive manner, I'll at least call back for 5 seconds and say, I got your call. Let me get right back to you. And that is so appreciated. And that feeds into my first point. It's about friendships. I've had clients, I could have easily viewed them as just clients. But what I found effective, but not just effective from a business point of view, but from a life satisfaction point of view, I become friends with my clients. We develop relationships. I'll give you a concrete example. There were times when early on in a client relationship, a client would say, you know what, Lou, I'm not sure I want to, retain you for this particular thing. My response would be, no problem. We're friends. Let me know in the future if there's something I can help you with. And I've never lost those clients on a long-term basis because the relationship was not one of, oh, well, if I'm not going to make money off you, then what do I need you for? I think it's intuitive. I think everyone in this meeting understands that's not the way to go. But I've always tried my best, and I've learned that the best business results come from the friendship, the quality of the friendship between myself and the clients I serve. So it's responsiveness, cultivating the friendships, and I have learned throughout my travels, those are two extremely effective ways of being successful in my service type of enterprise.
All right, thank you for that, Lewis. Carlos, would you like to chime in?
Sure. Wow, my journey has been very, very unique, starting in, 1999, going to work for a small loan origination office as a loan officer. I cultivated so many different, friendships, like Lewis said, and one of the things that I like most about being in the financing and the real estate business, it's it's a positive experience. I mean, because you're helping your client accomplish something or achieve something. And I get great satisfaction out of, whether they need to refinance a house or whether they're looking to purchase a house, whether I'm representing them as a buyer's agent or representing them as a seller's agent. I always feel that, with my knowledge and passion for the business, I can make a difference, in their lives. And that brings me a lot of satisfaction. So one of the unique things, that I've learned in my business is it's something that's always evolving. I'm learning something every day. And I think it's most dangerous, for people like myself and yourself as well, Adam, was when we feel that we're on top of the hill and we know everything. That's a dangerous position to put yourself in.
Oh, I
But I
completely
learned
agree.
some, whether through loan originations, new laws, new restrictions, something new, a new loan product, different angles on representing buyers and representing sellers on transactions. So I really appreciate the fact that I can wake up and by the time I go to bed at night, I've learned something new. And it's a type of business that's constantly evolving, and I certainly appreciate that.
All right, I see Eli Sank has joined us. Eli, would you like to answer some questions, or are you listening in? Oh, it sounds quiet. That's okay. Everything good. Well, I have a couple of things I would like to add to that. So I think we all mentioned here about relationships, but I think it's relationships do turn into friendships over time, and it's funny because most of my friends that I have today are people that I've met through business in one shape or form or another. I think my entire network of circle of friends in some way is associated with my business. And on the one hand, that's good because it's a community I've always liked being around a professional community. I've never really understood the working man mentality. I've always understood the entrepreneurial mentality. And surprising as it may sound, the majority of my friends are business owners, or highly educated attorney friends and things like that. So I think that's interesting. But talking about relationships specifically, I think it's important how you make people feel. For example, like people that work for us, they need to feel heard, they need to feel respected, they need to feel that their loyalty means something. It's not just we hire someone and you make them feel like an employee and they do their job, because those people leave and they take as much as they can from you as they possibly can. When you have employees and you make them feel special, when you make them feel respected, when you give them the opportunity to participate in a transaction, to eventually become a partner, or that you want to teach them to build their own business, that person will not just be your employee, but that person will ultimately become a friend for life. Another thing is with clients, it's kind of the same thing. Is that the relationship is very important. Clients need to feel safe. They need to feel heard. They need to feel understood. So the relationships, one thing I've learned about 35 years in business about relationships is respecting people, understanding people, listening to people, uh, letting them have their say. If someone needs to vent, let them say it. It's not a competition about who feels what and how. Sharon, thank you for joining us, by the way. So I find that respecting people, how you make them feel, letting them know that they're not part of your journey, but you're part of theirs too, is a very powerful relationship between people around you and yourself. I think that's a very important thing. And the next thing, I want to talk about. I made some notes as we were talking, and my handwriting is terrible. I have doctor's handwriting, so it's confidence. And in business, confidence is magnetic. They say that for want of a better word, it's a sexy, desirable quality when you perpetuate the confidence and knowledge of your business and of yourself, that if someone comes along and they're not confident in the way they speak, if they're not confident in the way they talk about their product, if they're not confident in their product knowledge, that's not going to build a good relationship. One thing I respect about many of the people I do business with, and I've had some very good conversations with Judge Lewis, is the confidence in the experience. And I think confidence is something that we have to evolve into. It takes time. We're not born with that confidence when we're in our 20s. It's not something that happens overnight. We want to be people pleasers. We want to make everybody happy. But what I've learned over the years is that you can't make everybody happy. Sometimes you just have to give people the inconvenient truth and they may not like it, but it's better to be honest about that and to manage that relationship than to be a people pleaser. And they always say like pleasing everyone is impossible, but pissing everyone off is easy, but you got to find the right balance. And then the last thing I want to talk about is a very important thing I've learned, and no one mentioned it here, and I'm kind of surprised about it. Carlos brought up a good point about always learning. Like if you consider yourself to be smartest person in the room, then you're going to be the biggest loser because we can all learn so much. But one thing I've learned that's so important for my business is I'm not good at it personally, and I work all the time at being better at it, is time management. Judge Lewis mentioned about always responding to people in 20 minutes and getting back to people timely, which I've actually over the years always tried to do. The problem that you have with that is you become over communicative and people start to expect you to always be available and then get frustrated when suddenly you're not. And one thing I had to force myself to do, I probably get about, I don't know, say hundreds of text messages a day from clients, and I get hundreds of calls, and everybody wants me to stop what I'm doing the second they call me. So imagine I'm working on the last hour, I was working on finishing an important pitch deck. Aside from that, I'm working on some loan proposals. Aside from that, I'm working on some other real estate deals. Aside from that, some other business things. So if I focus on something and I don't look at my phone, within the space of 1 to 2 hours, I'll do the work of 5 people that would have taken them 3 days. But if I'm jumping from phone call to text to text to phone call to call phone call to text to phone call, and I have 2 phones sitting on my desk, I have 3 lines each on them. So if I'm constantly jumping, my concentration is nowhere. And by the time I'm ready to do my work, I'm so tired I can't be bothered. So time management to me is very important in managing expectations. I always tell people, if I don't get back to you when you texted me, it means I was busy. It means that I was doing the work that you're paying me for. Because if I'm entertaining everyone's calls and texts, I'm not doing the work that you're paying me for. What I'm doing is I'm pleasing you, falling behind, getting stressed out, right, and then rushing to finish the job because I need to get it done in a certain time frame. So to me, I always tell clients, I will get back to you at the end of the day. Most of my client calls are after 5 o'clock, up to about 9 or 10 o'clock, because that's the time where I don't need to get in to speak to banks, lawyers, insurance companies. Those are the times during business hours and investors that the right people need to hear from me. So I don't always try to be disingenuous with clients, but I do let them know. It's not that they have to wait, but they need to wait to let me do my work so I can give them the service that they're paying me for. And that was a very hard lesson that I had to learn myself. And it was only when I fell so far behind trying to jump from call and text and do what everybody wants that I said to myself, I was talking to my attorney, who, by the way, Judge Lewis, I want to introduce you to, Adam Cohen. I was talking to him, I remember about a year or 2 ago, and I said to him, Adam, how do you manage the time? I know you get as many calls and texts as I do. How do you manage it? He said, turn your phone upside down for 2 hours. You'll get so much done. All right. He said, and then you'll look at your phone and you'll have an awful headache. And he's right. Because whenever I look at my phone, I'm like, oh God. And I'm like, no, that can wait. All right, this one's important. And then and then I keep my calls down to about 10 minutes each. So in the space of an hour, hour and a half, I've got them all out of the way. And I don't always, and I'll do it at certain what I call windows, go into too much chit chat with my clients. I try to manage it like on a Friday afternoon or later in the evening, that I'll be a bit more communicative or personable, because once my head is in the zone about business, I want to talk about business. Once my head is in the zone about talking about the weather and travel or what I had for dinner last night, then my head is, I'm relaxed, I want to go and sit down for the rest of the evening and spend time with my kids. So time management is very important, and managing people's expectations about your time management is also very important. Sharon, would you like to chime in? We're talking about what we've learned from our years of experience in business. Would you like to share some input?
Are you
Sure.
talking to me?
So you want
Or is there
me to share
somebody
some of
else?
my secrets of
Sharon, yes,
what
go
works
ahead. Yes.
for myself? Okay. I struggled for the first 20 years in business. I really, really struggled. And I was saying things like, and I couldn't figure out why it was so hard for me to get clients. And I was saying things like, I am a women's coach. I didn't realize that that was the problem. Didn't know what to say. And so I was saying the wrong things. And I was saying things that just are so boring and so generic, right? And so finally, I I went and I just got a stupid bilingual job that was really a horrible job. And then at one point I left because there was a fire alarm. I was living in a big building. There was a fire alarm in the building, and there were a few of them. And I left during the job because I didn't want to burn to death. And they fired me because I didn't want to be in a fire. So it was like,
That was
I finally
reasonable.
went, okay, I need to do something different. And I actually, I did some deep meditation and came up with a new script, what I call a client's attraction script that empowers. I call it the magic money case. And once I did that and I tweaked it and I played with it, I had my first $13,000 day. I was like, oh my God, just an even thank you. It was so exciting. And so I came back to Costa Rica. It was always my dream to come back and live in Costa Rica, and I've been here ever since. Love it. So
You-
yeah, the importance of knowing exactly what to say, especially those first 10 words when you introduce yourself, those are magic. There's so powerful. So now I work with speakers and I help them to become the world's most inspiring speakers. And I take people sometimes from zero to hero, and it's so fun,
I like
so
that zero to
exciting.
hero. I have a similar saying to that. I'm going to get into it in a second. But what Sharon brought to the table just now is a very, 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 I'm going to emphasize that, very good point. Energy.
Thank you.
Energy is probably one of the most important things that I've learned in business that you absolutely have to have. People completely vibe and buy off of energy. You could be the most expensive, the least knowledgeable, and the worst presentation, but if your energy is good, if your energy is right, people buy energy like there is no tomorrow. Energy is powerful. I remember uh, I was doing a I was doing some teaching in San Diego, and I remember I was in front of this massive group of people, and before me, all these people that were talking, I was literally standing there falling asleep, falling. I'm like, please, not another person in front of me. Please don't be another person in front of me. And finally, I go on. I'm on last. I don't know why I was last. I should be in first, of course. And, and I kind of go, come on, everybody, wake up, wake up. Time to pay attention. And I caught them off guard because everyone had walked in, hello, I'm so-so, I'm so-so. And I'm looking at their faces and they all look like they need, a good slap in the face. And I'm like, come on, everybody, wakey, wakey time. Let's get it going. And they were so caught off guard that the rest of it was a lot of fun, but energy is just the most powerful thing. And if people vibe your energy, they will buy a lot from you. And another thing I want to say also about when you said zero to hero, I had to remember that one for a second. I'm getting old. I don't remember as well as I used to. I've always said, no, my kids are in the other room, so I'm gonna water this down a little bit. So I always say I have the rock star approach. Okay, if you look in the mirror and you say I'm an F blah 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 rock star, right, and you believe it, everyone else will believe it too. But if you don't believe it, no one will believe it. You have to believe it before you can sell it. And I've done this many, many, many times where I've walked into a room in front of people and I've said, all right, go home, look in the mirror, and tell yourself every day that you're an F rock star. Again, kids in the other room. Okay. And keep doing it until you believe it. When you believe it, everyone will believe it. And that is a fact. You can have nothing in your back pocket, but if you believe that you're a rock star, when you stand in front of that client will believe that you're a rock star and they will want whatever you're selling. Anything. It doesn't matter what it is. You could be the most expensive, the crappiest product. It doesn't matter. All right. If people believe in you and your energy and your confidence and your rock star fire, you believe in it, right? You will win. That is just probably the most powerful thing that you can bring to the table in business. It isn't knowledge. It isn't you look good, or what you're wearing, or what you have on, or what car you drive. It's your energy. That is the most powerful emotion that you can bring to the table in business. And and if you can sell that well, it's the most successful emotion. People don't want like a big talker or someone that's just like too obnoxious, but you bring that right energy to the table, you will win. Energy is powerful. It's really powerful. And I've learned to embrace that over the years. I'm a little overconfident. I'm British. We're known for a little bit of our tiny bit of arrogance, but energy works. And when you bring that to a room full of people, or you bring that to your client, and you're confident about what you're doing, and you're confident about what you have, and what you can do, and what you're trying to articulate, that energy will sell ice to an Eskimo. They'll literally be thanking you for it and asking if they can put in a repeat order. And that is the truth. Energy is important. So I think we've covered that point very well. And now I want to go into another question. Again, thank you, Mehedi, for these. Were very good
Can I just make a
questions.
quick comment on that?
Go ahead, please.
I love the metaphor of rock star. That's what this is. If anybody ever needs a confidence boost, imagine that you are a rock star. You're looking at, that's actually my brand. You are a
I
rock
came up
star.
with that
And
about
these are all
15
the
years
people
ago.
who are
So
like
it's
cheering for you. So just imagine it.
we may have been in the room at the same time 15 years ago, or maybe you heard me say it, or I heard you say it. Anything is possible, right? It's literally,
Yeah.
but I've said that one for years. I've
Great
said that
one,
one,
segue.
all right. My
Yeah.
my favorite TV quote, again, apologize for anyone I may offend. I do occasionally, I try not to, is that as a man, they say you'll lose a lot of money chasing women, but you'll never lose women chasing money. And money is the winner. That's the goal. That's what we're after, right? So it's the little remarks that we learn over the years in wherever we pick them up, they stay with us. That rockstar quote, I remember using that in like 2009 or 10. I don't remember where I was when I first used it, but that's a very firm message that I believe in. And I believe that when you perpetuate that into the world, it's very well received. Because a lot of people don't come to the table with energy. They come to the table nervous, even if they know what they're doing. They come to the table quiet, and they come to the table maybe a little weak. All right. And then someone with a lot of energy walks into the room and they shine. All right. And when you're in business, that's the point. The whole point is to shine. It's not that you want to steal the limelight. It's not that you don't want to give the guy standing next to you a chance. It's that you want to shine. Because when you shine, we're here to win. We're here to be successful. We're here to be to accomplish our goals. If we're not shining when the light is put on us, then why are we here? Why? All right. It's not about the money. It's not about the relationship. It's that moment of opportunity to present yourself and about what you're presenting to make it desirable, to make it, to build it, to make it financially profitable. This is why we're here, to shine. And I respect your story about what you said about taking time, stepping back. But that's another thing that we need to talk about, all right? Con Edison said that he didn't fail at inventing the light bulb, I don't know, 50 to 100 times or whatever it was, all right? He said he learned 50 to 100 times how not to make a light bulb, all right? And then he learned how to make a light bulb, all right? We're assuming that he didn't borrow the idea from somebody else, which so, that Nikolai Tesla wasn't in the room at the time. So failure is part of success. We learn to, when we fail, when we fall down, when we're fighting, we learn how to get back up and do it stronger. We learn with more passion how to channel that energy. We learn how to fight. I've had businesses that have failed. I've lost money in business. I've had some prolific days where I'm like, oh my God, I just don't want to get out of bed today, right? But you have to get out of bed and keep fighting. You have to say, I can do this. I can do it better. And it's harder to do anything the second and third time. You have less money, credit might be not what it used to be. People are laughing at you or like talking about you. So to come back a second time or a third time or a fourth time, that takes courage, it takes guts, it takes charisma, it takes strength. And I respect people so much when they fail and keep fighting, more than I respect people that failed and go and get another job and say, hey, I don't believe in myself anymore. Because if I didn't believe in myself, there are many times where I failed that I wanted to throw in the towel, and And I kept going. I said, I believe in myself. I want to provide for my family. I want to live a certain lifestyle. I want to keep going. I do not want to quit. And that strength of character is, again, I think character is a very important part of business. That strength, that inner strength, is what separates the winners from the losers. So we spoke about confidence, and we spoke about feeling like a rock star, and we spoke about relationships. But the most important relationship we will ever have is with ourselves. All right. And do we fight today, or do we quit today, or do we fight, or do we quit and to come back to fight? Business, and I think everyone on this call has had a bad day or lost money or had something go horribly wrong. Anyone that said they never had a bad day is, to me, a liar. Like, everyone's had bad days. I'm sure you've lost cases. I'm sure you've had students that didn't want to learn. You had clients that didn't want to sign up. I'm sure we lost Owen Dexter, had things that didn't work out for him, why he's now in Amsterdam area. And I'm sure Carlos had deals that didn't work out. We've all had struggles, and they may have been at a different level and at a different pace and in a different way, but we all chose to keep fighting for the next day. And I think that is, those are probably the people that I respect the most, to be honest, because I've been that person. And I know how hard my fight was to get back up. And people always want to kick you when you're down, so it's harder to get back up. It hurts to get back up. Your courage and your confidence is wounded. Your fighting skills, your ability, maybe your financial situation is weaker. All right, your confidence is weaker, and now you have to do it again, and you do it with not at the same strength, but you've got something else. You've learned what went wrong. You've learned how to handle it, and yet you're still doing it. So I think that confidence, that fight, that fire that you need is probably, and it doesn't matter if you want to be a lawyer, a teacher, a public speaker, a real estate investor, another real estate investor. I don't know about these two guys. I think it applies to everything that we do, because if we throw in the towel too quickly, we never know what we might have lost. I will fight for my business and for my family. I will fight as long as I have air in my lungs. I will fight. I will never give in. I will fight with everything that I have to accomplish the goals that I have. And it's one of the reasons why we have this little group here today. It's about the human instinct, about not just the business side, the real estate side, the finance side. It's about who we are as people. It's about what we're trying to learn, develop, and grow together. And for me, like, Business Brainstorm was not just, and I said this to Judge Lewis the other day on our call, this wasn't just for me to speak and to lecture. This was for me to learn and grow as well. This is the journey, and I welcome everyone here to come every week, that we can build from each other and give back to our community and take away something that's personal for us, or be reminded of something that we've forgotten, that we may help us recharge. So this is a very good conversation, and I think all of you brought up some really, really good subjects. And now we're going to go into an even more delicate subject, guys. Are you ready? All right, I'm going to go with Cheryl for this one. I think Cheryl's going to be the first person. All right, we have a new era of business. Technology is changing everything. I'm going to read you a quote from my newsletter that's coming out, which basically alludes to, all right, there are students in university today studying for jobs that no longer exist, or won't exist by the time they graduate. We're seeing a record amount of people be replaced by AI and robotics. Sure, as you're in the education world, how do you feel that AI is going to change everyone's lives?
You know, they say AI is going to change it, but it's the person running the AI that's going to change it. So there's always going to be a need for that person to run it. And that's how I feel. But I am way behind in learning how to use AI. So
But
I
how do
use
you
it
think it
whenever I
affects
can.
the students that come to your, like, the education that you're providing? How do you think it affects their future? Because it absolutely will.
Right, it will. And you know, I've also always talked recently to teachers, you know, who are reading. My son actually is a math teacher, and he's reading things, and he knows when it's AI writing it and not the students.
Of course.
So so they're getting in trouble sometimes,
No spelling mistakes,
but
perfect
they're
grammar.
learning. Yeah, right.
All
But
of a sudden they know where to
so
put
the
a comma.
teachers and the students are learning, how to use it, when to use it, and when not to use it. So yeah, it's definitely affecting each and every one.
So I'm going to read you something that I wrote last night for Mehedi. This is a takeaway from my newsletter. So bear with me for looking away from the camera. All right. As I write this article, sitting in my home office, listening to Beethoven in the background, I understand that these are my thoughts, my words, my sentiments. I could use AI to write this newsletter and be finished in seconds, but I would completely lose that personal touch, that special connection to my identity and also my personality. All right. So for me, AI isn't just about not about just who we are or what we write. It just makes everything uniform. If you could just go online and use ChatGPT or Google to solve every problem and write everything, then we're going to end up with a uniform set of information. All right. And the whole purpose of information and education for me is debate. If we all have the same opinion because we copied it from ChatGPT, then how do we learn what is right and what is wrong and what we should and what we shouldn't do? Because we're just basically then following a robot. Because at that point, the robots become the leaders. And they say it to your point that as long as a person is controlling the machine, then it's okay. But the machines are becoming so advanced that they're starting to think for themselves that at some point, well, listen to the human controller and will take control. Elon Musk has actually written and spoken about this many times. All right. Even Mark Zuckerberg and the person that created AI has said it's something they wish they could uninvent. All right. So for me, AI, it takes away the uniqueness of what we all bring to the table. As I said, I could have written this in AI. I could have done it in seconds. It would have saved me time instead of spending like an hour and a half trying to figure out what should I write. But it was important to be real. I didn't want to be fake and say, oh, there's my fake newsletter. Everyone can read it. I don't care if 1 people read it or 1,000 people read it. I wanted it to be from me. All right. And when I was younger, when I was in school, if I had 2 skills, one of them you may be aware is I'm a gifted speaker. I enjoy to speak and I think about what I say. But I also love to write. When I write something, I am writing from either passion or fire or strong opinion. I am writing from my heart. That's my words. I don't want a machine to do that for me. And you'd be amazed at how fast it can. The other day, I asked ChatGPT to make me like a pitch deck just to see what I missed or I'd forgotten or could put in or use or add. And 30 seconds later, it had done everything. And I did use some of those pages and I rewrote them and I added them. All right. So it's definitely an amazing resource. But if everyone does it, then what are we bringing to the table? How do our clients who are investing in us, all right, believe that we are doing the job and not just going online? Because at that point, we've all become redundant. Right. Judge Lewis, to your point on that one.
You spoke just now from passion. You spoke from a good passion. You spoke just now from the emotive aspect of it. There's not one word you said I don't agree with. What I would contribute to the conversation is this. I would contribute the aspect of the risks and the dangers of it. Okay? Here's something that a lot of folks don't know. Judges, twice a year, in the fall and in the spring, attend a judicial seminar. Every judge in the state of New York, the elected ones, as I was, the appointed ones, all of us from the entire state of New York converge twice a year. It's like a pilgrimage. Once in the fall, once in the spring at the New York State Judicial Institute, which is on the campus of Pace Law School in Westchester County, New York State. And it's a wonderful experience, right? Half the day, seminars, topical issues. The other half of the day is getting to know each other. It's a wonderful experience. I can tell you that the last seminar I went to, which was back in, I guess it was September of last year, The topic was, you guessed it, AI, permeated by AI. The Office of Court Administration, which is the administrative body that sort of manages the court system, was terrified of it. And I'll tell you why. There were horror stories where lawyers, when they discovered AI, ceased doing what you talked about, Adam. They ceased inputting their own diligence, their personality, their understanding, their hard work, stopped doing it, and they relied solely on AI, resulting in the filing of legal briefs, which were beautiful, but for one problem. The cases cited by AI didn't exist. Fiction, complete fiction. And that's a no-no. Now, don't you think those lawyers should have checked those cases to see what they say, indeed, whether they even exist? They didn't. Now, I'm not talking about a tidal wave of folks, but there were people that had this issue. Some of the lawyers were sanctioned by the court saying, what are you doing here? Let me go one step further in the horror story. There were judges who lifted those briefs and put them into judicial opinions. Judicial opinions. They were sanctioned by the administrative authorities. I'm not making this up. So the mood of Sharon wants to mention, I want to hear what Sharon has to say, but the mood of that seminar was, oh my God, AI, we're terrified of it. Now, I walked away from there and I said, takes a lot to terrify me. What I learned from the horror stories was, don't do that. AI is like any other ingenious invention that mankind, through mankind's intuition and God-given brilliance, was able to create. Use it. Take advantage. But you gotta use it in a smart way. It's like nuclear energy. You could power cities and then there's a dark side to it. It's like anything that we have on Earth that we discover that is wonderful. Don't cross the train tracks when the guidepost is up. We have to use it smartly. I agree with Cheryl. I do not believe it will replace human beings, because ultimately human beings have to make sure that they're using it correctly and that it's being beneficial to society as opposed to holding us back.
Thank you, Judge Lewis.
Oh my
And
God,
Sharon, you had some words.
that is a terrifying story. Wow. I was using AI for all kinds of different research, and I suddenly went, wait a minute, how do I know that these are actual real facts? And I thought, well,
Google
what
it.
do I know that I know for sure that I know is a fact that AI cannot replace? So I've been in business for, God, 15, 20, 25 years or more, and I've had a website talking about me for many, many years that's out there. And so AI has had access to that. I thought, okay, I'm going to ask, what is the story of Sharon Love, MEd CEO, the founder of speakinspire.com? I used my actual website. So it came back to me and it said, oh, she's this beautiful Black woman with 2 children. And I'm like, I have never had children that I know of. It's like, how does a woman have children and not know about it? Like, hello. It had this all these details about my life and 90, I mean, I think, oh yes, they did say I had a master in education, but that was in the quote. That was in the question, Sharon Love MEd. So that part it got right. 80% of it was pure fiction. And I've had this a number of times where I asked AI for certain research and it would come back to me and give me all these studies. And I'd be like, really, show me the research in those research, psychological studies. Psychology is my background, right? And it's like, oh, yeah, that was made up. And I'm like, no, give me real, actual facts of actual research studies. And it would come back with this long list. And I'd say, show me the links. And then the links went nowhere. And I was like, no, I want real, actual, factual research studies. And it kept coming. And over, it would say, oh, no, oh, sorry. That was just illustrative. I'm like, I don't want illustrative.
Well,
I want real reality.
you see what
And
happens there.
and it was lying
Yeah.
like a toddler would lie, after they stole the cookies from the cookie jar over and over and over again. Has no conscience. Should not be allowed to rule.
See,
It's a
what
tool,
happens
not a
there
rule.
is
Not
AI
something that should
pulls
rule.
from public records, right? And I've had my own interesting experience with this because I have a very common name. Adam Cohen is like the Jewish John Smith, all right? It's a very, very, very common name. Now, Adam S. Cohen, with my middle name is Sydney, for those of you who are wondering. Um, and you know something funny? I used to have adamscohen.com as a website in the early 2000s when it first came out. And for some reason, my hosting company made a mistake and didn't send me the notification to renew it. And a law firm, Adams Cohen, took the domain. And I was so mad. And they still have it to this day. I've asked them 1,000 times to give it back to me. But
Wow.
so it's like, anyway, Adam S. Cohen is my name. So when I periodically have to do like a background search, like I did one for my citizenship, I did one for I'm doing one right now for the SEC and things like that. When I do a background search on me, it's interesting because of my common name. I come back as being the director of the FBI in Buffalo. I come back as being a singer. I come back as being some guy at a hedge fund that I don't know had a few problems, and it's similar because every once in a while, like in finance, people do background checks on you, and it's funny the things they send me. I'm like, no relation, not me, no relation, not me, no relation, not me. And Jojo, I'm sure you understand what I'm talking about, right? So AI is pulling from public data. So when you type in the name Sharon Love, it isn't just pulling the name, your information as you think it would be. It's pulling the information of multiple people and then leading with the dominant one, right? Hence the error. That's kind of what the problem is because it can't understand the difference between you and that are a different person. And this is not just an AI problem. This is a public record. This is an information system problem because there are so many
But
people.
that's why I specified, right? I specified founder of speakinspire.com because that's mine. And I'm the only one in the world who's the founder of speakinspire.com. And it still was like shoveling in pure crap. Like, what
It
is
makes
this?
mistakes. Carlos, do you want to share something about that? Is Carlos still with us? I see he's sitting there. He may have gone quiet. Oh, there you
But
go.
unfortunately, I'm on another phone call for a few minutes. You might want to try somebody else, and I'll circle back.
All right, sounds good. No problem. All right. Well, again, I want to thank everyone for that input. That was all very interesting. So I have one last question. We'll keep them short because we kind of I set this up for an hour, but I just figured we'd have the question and I think it's a good one. So we'll just kind of we'll keep answers short, guys. Okay. How much do you think luck plays into business? Do you think luck is a thing or is it strategy? Which do you think is the stronger factor when it comes to business? Cheryl, you can go first.
Well, luck is when preparation meets opportunity, right?
Absolutely.
So we were talking about this morning in a meeting. If you are prepared, if you grow yourself and you're prepared when the opportunity comes, then you will succeed. So that's luck. So that's my opinion.
I just want to share something with Cheryl. I think this is an important. So you said that perfectly, by the way. Preparation meets opportunity. That is, I couldn't have articulated that any better if I tried. And I emphasize to one of my children all the time the importance of reading. I say, when you read a lot, you gain information that helps you speak confidently and write well. And you just, as if you are an educator, and like I said, you You penned that perfectly, and I just wanted to say that. Thank you for that. Judge Lewis, what are your thoughts on this?
Oh, that's a very philosophical question. It's a good one. It really, it's not just about business. It's a question that challenges, I think, any person with regard to how they feel about the notion of luck in general, about fate in general, about faith in general. It's a very deep question that touches all aspects of life, including business. I will say that without professing to be an expert in this very deep topic of what is luck, I will say that I believe it's not about luck. I believe it's about what we put into what we do. And, you know, Adam, you spoke very eloquently before about the energy and the perseverance. And don't let that one case that I lost, Adam. Okay? Just kidding. Don't let that one case that you lost get you down. Get right back up and keep plugging. The perseverance that you talked about, the energy that you talked about, the rock star self confidence that you and Sharon talked about. I believe that's what bakes the cake. You know, so if I had to weigh the amorphous concept of luck against the concrete evidence of perseverance and input, I'm going to have to go with perseverance and input.
Preservation and opportunity, perseverance and input. Very good. We're using some good adjectives there. Sharon.
I would say it's definitely a combination, right? And if you put yourself in the right places, you increase your luck. And if you know what to say and you bring the right energy, then you increase your luck 100 times or 1,000 times. Or I was the mute girl who empowered millions of people. That was a combination of luck and perseverance and passion. So I think it's really all of the above. And anyone who wants to increase their luck, I would love to interview you on the World's Best Speakers Show, the world's most inspiring speakers show. So Adam is going to be one of the people, and I think, right? We've been talking about that.
I'd be happy to.
And I'm open to other people as well who are inspiring. It seems like there's some really cool people here. So
I want to watch the episode. I want to watch that episode when Adam is in the hot seat.
Thank you. And I want to see you too. But there's been a few podcasters that have interviewed me and then I've interviewed them and vice versa to kind of see how the dynamic changes. And it's interesting when that happens. And I think people who are confident in speaking will always have good conversation. But I want to answer the question from me about luck versus hard work and preparation and opportunity. I feel they all kind of have a relevant factor in business because you can have all the skills, the resources, the preparation, the opportunity, everything, right? And this is interesting about real estate. When I first got into real estate, I used to talk about this. You can have one agent that will show someone 20 houses, and that person will not take any. And then one random agent takes that client to see one house, and they take it. And that house wasn't any better than your house, or cheaper than your house, or more expensive than your house, or bigger than your house, or had a nicer bathroom than your house. They just had that special luck that went with them to get that deal, right? And I remember when I got into real estate, that happened to me a number of times, right? So I can speak from that from experience. So I think luck is important, but I think good preparation, all right, creates luck. If you prepare well, if you think about all of the pluses, all the positives, all of the negatives, and if you are well prepared, that you can create the luck by positive preparation. But I think luck still plays in as a very important factor that you can't ignore, because you can have someone who did none of the above, None. And they can still win. So preparation doesn't guarantee success. Now, another factor that I'm going to weigh in on this, we spoke a bit about it today, is energy and how that affects preparation and luck. And I think that the right level of energy brings the right level of luck. It attracts it like a magnet. The right level of energy provides for you to prepare better than anyone else. So I think energy is a crucial factor, because if you have the right energy and you put that energy into your preparation, right, then when luck comes knocking, you are better prepared. Now, it's not a guarantee of a win. That it's you can have all the preparation, the best energy, and like still not win. But I think those three combined, if I think about all my years in business, if I think about all the people that I know in business, if I think about how Cheryl presented it, how Judge Lewis presented it, how Sharon presented it, I think all of those factors are very important, and they have to work well together and still not guarantee a result. Sometimes you just have to say, hey, I didn't win today, right? Right. Sometimes I joke that if I didn't have bad luck, I'd have no luck at all. I was a lucky guy. It's usually bad, but hey, better than nothing, right? So Jewish, talking with my hands. Sorry, it's a growing up thing, like North London Jewish, kind of like we talk with our hands. I think it's a New York thing too, very much. So I think those three things are very interesting. Now, I'm going to wrap up here and just talk a little bit about a product that we've recently launched, which Judge Lewis knows a bit about, and it's called Business Concierge, and it's one of the reasons why we do this broadcast every week. So many years ago, I started my LinkedIn profile around 2010, and when I first started, I was like, yeah, whatever. It's like another MySpace was a thing, Facebook was a thing. I didn't really believe in it too much. But moving on a little bit, I ended up hiring a consulting company that helped me optimize and to make more efficient. There we go. I was trying to think of another word. My LinkedIn. And before I knew it, I started bringing in regular business every single month. And we continued to add and add and add and add to that. And before I knew it, my business became incredibly successful using only LinkedIn, and it was the most efficient resource. Just recently, we launched Business Concierge, which significantly right now is focusing on LinkedIn. Well, we can provide you 1,000 new leads every month. Like new leads, new opportunities by optimizing your account, making it more efficient, doing your messaging for you, adding connections, like optimizing content creation, and essentially making you look 10 times more professional and attracting 10 times more people than you're presently using your LinkedIn accounts for. LinkedIn is probably one of the best resources on the internet for attracting new clients and new business. So if you'd like to talk to us about A, getting 1,000 new leads every month on LinkedIn, or B, having us manage all of your social media, but we're not a social media management company, we're a brand management. We're going to help you create a brand, to grow your brand, and to be the most desirable person in your industry that everybody wants to do business with. If that's something you'd like to talk to us about, everyone here has my contact information. If not, Mehedi will share it with you right now. Or if you want to share your email and your phone number, we'll get messages out to you. And it's a fantastic service, and it really helped me grow my business more than any other platform, better and more efficiently than anything else I've ever used. I like it so much that when my good friend who ran it for me for so many years has now retired because he has dementia, I approached Mehedi and I said, I want to take this to a whole new level. All right. And I brought in Mehedi from my former friend Bob and brought him on with my team. So it's something I feel very passionate about because it helped me grow my business. And I wouldn't be here today without that opportunity and without Mehedi's help. So so if it's something you're interested in, please reach out to me because it can really, really change your business. Judge Lewis, you and I have spoken about it, but it is an amazing tool, an amazing resource. And if anyone is interested, please let me know and I'll be happy to discuss it with you and to get you guys signed up. It really is a brand management decision, not a social media. You can get someone to manage your social media for nothing money from Instagram. But if you want someone to help you grow your brand, to stand out from the crowd, and a crowd that's sort of several hundred million people, then we would love to help you accomplish that, just as they have done it for me. So that's Business Concierge by Adam Cohen today, parent company. I want to thank everyone for coming today. I want to thank Cheryl and Sharon for being first time. I want to thank Judge Lewis for being a repeat guest. I hope to see you all again next week. And I just want to say thank you for coming today. Sharon, I got your note about the greatest speaker. I'd be happy to participate. I'll message you on LinkedIn. Thank you so much, everyone. Thank you for watching. Thank you for your time. And we will see you again next week, Monday at 5 o'clock.
Thanks. Good to see everybody.